How do Everton fans watch that every week? I've got no idea. But look, Bournemouth started the new year in style on Saturday against a terrible Toffees. A lot of Cherries fans were expecting us to steamroller Sean Dyche's side, but true to form, the Toffees, they were purposeful, they were pragmatic, and with men behind the ball and little drive to go and win the game, it would probably take something special to win it for the side in red and black. But that happened thanks to a delightful David Brooks volley. So 3 points was eventually ours as Andoni Iraola's men remain in 7th place in the league table. Happy days. It is happy days. Happy New Year, Tom.
Yes.
3 points. Come on.
Not bad, mate. Yeah, it was exactly true to form, as you say. Exactly kind of, I think, when we were speaking in the preview, what we maybe anticipated was it'd be a real stodgy kind of game that we would just hopefully have a little bit too much in the end and nick it. And that's exactly what we did. I think, we'll talk about it more, but I think it's easier when the team literally don't try and score a goal. I think it was similar to the Palace game, but you knew they were a threat, whereas Everton have no threat. So that helped us. And yeah, as soon as it looked like it was going to maybe peter out, fortunately, even with all the injuries we got, the subs made a difference again. Another goal scorer from the bench.
We're in not good form, but we're in great form with an 8.
See what you did, yeah.
Because that is now 8 games unbeaten, which is a Premier League record for us, isn't it?
It is indeed, yes. Not a bad one, is it? Especially when you consider it's coincided with our biggest injury kind of crisis of the season. So, big credit to Andoni and all the players. And yeah, because the squad looks really thin. But even that, our last 2 games, the players that have come on and scored have both been off the bench. So it's showing that the players that we maybe thought, have they got a future, are still delivering and showing they're important members of the squad.
So, of course, we're going to talk about the Cherries. Of course, we're a Bournemouth fan channel. Welcome if you're brand new. You can do us a favour by doing a couple of things.
Yeah, click the like button, click the subscribe, and the bell will let you know when all the videos are out. So make sure you do it.
But we'll also talk about Everton as well. And in many ways, Tom,
yeah.
I was saying this to Tiggs after the game. I see a club in transition, of course. It sort of reminds me of us a couple of years ago, a team in transition that's had a recent takeover. The stuff on the pitch isn't overly liked by the majority of the fan base, but they're probably going to get maybe over the line. Maybe. We'll check out the league table in a minute. But I just wonder if there are echoes of the Gary O'Neill era here, and maybe Sean Dyche is perhaps a dead man walking, because no one wants to watch that every week for Everton, and they're moving into their new stadium. They'll probably want to start afresh. It seems to be a case of, let's just get the season done and then we can rebuild. Yeah,
it'll be really interesting to see if they switch or not, because as you say, I think long term and probably next season they'll go elsewhere, a bit like what we did.
Yeah.
But if they don't want to gamble, they'll probably go, it's rubbish, but it will probably keep us up, and then we can just go again. Whereas if they try and get rid of Dyche now and bring someone new in, you never know, and then you've got the risk of it could drop. So it's a difficult one for them, but I do think they'll probably, if they want to play it safe, I think they'll still just have enough, because fortunately for them, there's a few teams that are not very good, one in particular. And I just think they've been here before. And they'll probably get over the line, because, again, if it wasn't for a really good volley, they got a good away point. I mean, they drew with Chelsea, drew with City, do you know what I mean? So them little points, I think, will be enough. But yeah, going forward, they need to change bits. But, there's light at the end of the tunnel, mate. They've got new ownership coming in, and maybe they can bounce on from here. But yeah, I mean, how they watch that every week. Oh my God. I couldn't believe what I was watching, honestly.
We gained a number of Everton subscribers for, I think, what was a generous away day review when myself and Tiggs did it after they saved themselves on the last day of the season, not so long ago, with a 1-0 win. Of course, they battered us 3-0. So we got a few subscribers there. So Toffees fans, look, we do want to talk to you a little bit as well, because we can understand why you are so despondent at the moment. And what was weird is that I've never seen an away set of fans be so quiet.
Yeah.
They never goaded I thought the atmosphere at Dean Court was quite poor, but they never really sang football in a librime, as every single fan base would. And there's this resignation that filters from the fans almost onto the players at the pitch in the time that were time wasting from the off. God. It just seems a club that are just almost wanting to get put out of its misery, but not in any terrible way, but just let's get through the season and, like I said, start afresh. But I can really feel for their fans.
Yeah,
I really can. In some circumstances, I love to have a bit of Schadenfreude, but with this, it's just almost pity.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I think you can even go back to the fixture we had at their place, where obviously we all know we scored 3 goals so late, and they were really good. They were 2-0 up, they were bouncing, they let them 1 goal. I mean, the game still was well in their grasp. There's only a few minutes to go. They let them 1 goal, and it felt like around the place, here we go. Like, they're so used to it.
I completely agree.
And the subs they made, I saw a few Everton fan channels after that game, and they said, as soon as he took off, I think it was Calvert-Lewin, he'd made a change. You thought, what is he doing? They were in control.
Yeah.
And it does feel this real kind of handbrake and, try and defend at all costs kind of football. And yeah, I'd be struggling to sing and be entertained by what they're watching. I mean, listen, they didn't just lose the game. They didn't have a single shot on target. We didn't have our usual, obviously Bournemouth fans, we all love Travers, but we didn't have our usual goalkeeper. We didn't have a right back. Obviously James Hill played, he's not a right back. But they didn't even try and get us. They didn't even try. All I remember is that flash shot right at the end, Beto, I think it was. That was actually further wide than I think I realised at the time. But yeah, we had a goalkeeper come in who hadn't played for a while, and he didn't have nothing to do.
He didn't, and...
we got players like Ndai, by the way, who's a bloody good footballer.
Yeah.
And he must be sat there going, just get me on the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And I sensed, just looking at the fans, because I was in the Ted McDougall stand, and they were just waiting for it to happen. And when it did, at that point, they realised we are now getting nothing out of this. I think, they would have been overjoyed with a point, because it's what they've done in the last few games against some big sides, of course, apart from Forest. But and it probably doesn't make it any better for Everton fans who are on their way back, hopefully making it back safe, because the conditions were pretty treacherous on the roads. The more north you get, even Heather driving back east had problems. But Sean Dyche on the radio, and obviously some interviews, he said, "I've never made excuses since I've been here, but the run really isn't bad on paper if you add wins to it."
I totally agree. I think I've always said, I'm not actually sure if you just add a couple of feet. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Honestly, it's unbelievable. Some of that one there, some of the little quote tweets to it have been absolutely class.
If you take away the dead bodies, Fred West actually laid a decent patio, someone said.
But that was an unbelievable quote. And that's like somebody who's just don't know what to say. And and I reckon it's one of them. As soon as he said it, he thought, oh God, why have I said that? But yeah, very, very bizarre. I think what he's trying to say is obviously we've got few good draws in there because some of the teams they've played. But he didn't word it great. But you can't... He's saying about if you have wins, you can't expect to win games if you don't try and win games.
No,
what do you expect?
And I mean, we'll take a look at some stats later on in the show that's worrying if you're an Everton fans. But look, 18 days ago they had the takeover. They are currently 1 point above the relegation zone, and they're currently on a run of 1 win in 11. And a second bottom for goals scored this term. And they didn't show any endeavour, any real desire to get up the pitch and score. Like you say, that late flashed shot. When you watch Match of the Day, you usually get an idea of how the game went, because they obviously concentrate on the chances. It almost felt like they had to put that in because they needed to give Everton fans something. Yeah, but really, Travers was just a spectator, and for someone that was new in again, fresh in, and maybe on his first of 3 games in a row, maybe we don't know, he had very little to do. But we need to talk about it. So, how rude of me. My name's Sam Davis.
And my name's Tom Jordan.
We're an AFC Bournemouth fan channel, and make sure you do press those buttons for us. I think that Andoni, whilst it wasn't a beautiful watch, it was not aesthetically pleasing whatsoever. I actually think he'll be really pleased at that, because he's had a tough time against Everton, and we've got through it. I think mainly in second gear, hopefully unscathed in terms of injuries. Another 3 points on the board, and it could have been a tricky game. It was a tricky game. His super sub mentality came to the fore again with David Brooks scoring, and we continue our European push. I think he'll be delighted with that.
He'll be absolutely buzzing. And in some weird ways, not for the kind of limbs or anything like that, that's one of my favourite wins of the season, because I think that we've shown we can go to Man United and win 3-0. We weren't that shocked because we know the way they play and we can beat them. And obviously we've had some really big wins, but we know what City were like. We know what Tottenham could be like. My concern was always, if we want to keep up to them levels, is if you look at the games we've lost this season, we haven't lost many. Apart from, Chelsea played really well and lost. Obviously Liverpool, which is fair enough. But then we've lost to Leicester, Brighton and Brentford. We drew you know, we've had some really tough games at home with like Palace and West Ham. And I thought if there's another one where we come out of a 0-0 at home to Everton, you're going to go, that's our Achilles heel.
Yeah.
So to tick that off, and by the way, another clean sheet. We've kept a lot of clean sheets of late, without Marcus Celesi as well, by the way, without
true.
Adam Smith. So, and as we said about the goalkeeper, so a lot of positives, the fact that we got through it for sure.
And a game like that is one that in years gone by we'd have conspired to draw or probably lose it.
I think I remember, because obviously there are differences, but Dyche is obviously a similar type of manager, and he come down here with Burnley a few times, and I always remember a game, one of the worst games I saw, and it was 0-0 all game, and then Jay Rodriguez scored last minute, and they won 1-0, and it kind of, you want to see where that level's different now, and I think the mentality of the group as well, they never feel like they're out of it. They always know we're going to create moments. And the most pleasing thing at the moment is that we are keeping that door closed against teams. You know, forget about this Everton one because they create a little, but even against Palace, yes, we couldn't do it, but we don't. I always felt like we always looked like we could concede. We don't feel like that sort of team anymore. No. Some real ticks off, and now we've got a cup game, and then hopefully can get a few more bodies back, and we're in a really good place. Because as I said, mate, we've been on this run with a lot of injuries.
And like you say, it's without Senesi, what was first choice, but who knows now? So Howson comes in, played brilliantly. James Hill did an excellent job at right back as well. So it's not like we've got our best defence either. So, and Mark Travers in goal, who's not our number one, clearly. So that just shows that he must be so pleased. And look, he'll be pleased if he takes a look at the league table. If you're listening on the podcast, I can proudly tell you that AFC Bournemouth are in 7th and have got no red blobs to their name. I mean, this only shows the last 6, but go back 2 games before that and you won't see one there either. Aston Villa managed to get the points. Fulham, of course, they drew. A few penalties in that, was there?
The 3 penalties, well, they had 2 for Fulham, 1 for Ipswich. It was interesting actually because the Fulham were annoyed because there was like one of them ones where you think he's last man, and it was Leif Davis on Harry Wilson, so a little ex Bournemouth one in there. But yeah, there was 2 2-2s obviously on Sunday. The results, like say, Villa won, but you can keep winning, boys, if you want. We're still above you, and City won, but it was a weird one because obviously Newcastle playing Tottenham, and it depends what kind of mindset you're in. Because I was kind of happy for Newcastle to win, to be honest. Yeah. Keep Tottenham down there. Yeah. But obviously, if it went the other way, we'd have closed the gap on and gone above Newcastle. But yeah, it's all nice and tight up there, but we just keep ticking them off, mate.
Yeah, we do. At what point are we going to mathematically be safe? That's all I'm concerned about. But we might be. We might be already. At some point, that will happen, and we will be mathematically safe because as we look at the bottom of the table, you can see.
I think it's important to look at the bottom as well.
Ipswich, Leicester City, and Southampton. I mean, look.
Speaking of red blobs, they haven't got a green blob in there, but they were unfortunate in the game. I think it was quite a tight one, wasn't it? No one could have predicted that. Not even a Southampton fan could have predicted that. No. You've seen that video, right? What sort of PR is that, by the way? And the fact that the player played in the game had to come out and give him the shirt is incredible.
She was overjoyed with winning that shirt after predicting a 5-0 scoreline. I mean, what? Brentford, that just says everything.
Brentford, who we know are a good side, by the way, but they're not good on the road. No, we say that about a home record.
That's their first win away, isn't it?
Oh my God, it's incredible. But let's get the base out.
Let's get the base out. The baseline tracker shows that Newcastle United, after their win at Spurs, that's good for them, but they create a bit of a gap on us, but it doesn't matter. We're second, happily second on 15 points there. That was superb. We wouldn't have gained anything, of course, after our win against Everton, but we could have lost it had we lost a couple of points, had we drawn it 3 if we'd lost it. So we're in a good place.
Important again, just to be level, just important to say, who's at the bottom of that one?
All right, Tom. Yeah, okay. We know.
No, just making sure everyone's aware of what's going on at the moment. I don't care.
So look, teams came out, and there was the kind of conjecture about Kepa, whose wife had twins.
He's been out in Spain, hasn't he? That's what Andoni said. He's just been away, obviously, so they thought he hadn't really trained, so we'll give Travers a go. And I do wonder, it's easy in hindsight, but I wonder if he went, 1, Travers will probably play in the Cup, and he definitely will play against Chelsea because Kepa won't be able to play. So there's also that point of going, you can have a little run, but also I think he thought, let's get a goalkeeper to get confidence before he's got to play a few games because they're not going to do much. No, I do wonder. Yeah. And again, we said, I reckon you should probably start Brooks ahead of Dango because Dango's better off the bench. So we're all going, all the stats suggest that. So why would Andoni do anything different? He starts Dango, plays pretty well, brings on Brooks, gets the winner. I mean, the bloke is just...
In Andoni,
I do wonder if, just because Dango started on the left a lot, didn't he? Obviously, they can switch. I do wonder now, looking at it, if he went, because of the pace of Dango and Semenyo, Ashley Young's like 39.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe it was that a little bit.
Yeah,
rather than starting Brooksy, but yeah, it worked all right.
One of the things that I'm quite pleased about, I was saying this to Tiggs during the game, that it doesn't feel... I don't have that nervous feeling when we're playing our understudy goalkeeper anymore.
Oh, God, no.
Not at all.
No, because he's a brilliant goalkeeper.
He's
yeah.
superb.
And now
previously we'd have that.
Yeah, and now we've got to a stage where, you know, like we said, our understudy centre-back, Dean Howson, who's wanted by Real Madrid, our understudy right-back who's never played right-back, I'm not worried about him. No. James Hill's solid as anything. And yeah, just whoever you kind of play in there now, like you say, the only one at the moment, and that's no disrespect to Unal, is that Ever. It's just maybe if we lost Ever. But apart from that, we're in a, like you say, even with the injuries, you feel like whoever comes in is going to do a job. I think for them, I just expected maybe to go Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Bro just seems like he's all right, but I don't know. I just feel like Calvert-Lewin gives you something. I know he hasn't got a good goal-scoring record for a while now. I don't know. There's something about him. I just think he could get on the end of something.
Yeah.
And I do think obviously we were talking about before if he was going to make it and he didn't. I do think they missed Dwight McNeil. You remember that game at Goodison?
Yes.
I thought Dwight McNeil was brilliant. Really. So they are missing him for sure.
I'll tell you what though, I talked about it not being aesthetically pleasing. It really wasn't. It was so scrappy. The ball seemed to be in the air for quite a lot. There was time wasting seemingly going on from some of the Everton players from the very off. It really wasn't one for the for a person who likes to watch beautiful football. And look, we're used to being exhilarated, but we still created chances. The first one was, I think, a long throw from James Hill that Howson managed to get a flick on, and it just fell to Ouattara. It's amazing how many times the ball falls to Ouattara.
Yeah, and I think you've got to give credit to Ouattara then in that sense, because he's come across and he's got into that position. It would have been bloody brilliant and ironic if we had scored against Everton from a long throw and a flick on. But I remember Blackburn fans saying when we called him back that he's got a good throw on him, James Hill. And it was good. Howson's very good in the air. And like I say, I thought Dango done really well to come across. It's difficult when if he just went for power there and just smashed it, it probably goes in. But Pickford deserves credit for getting down to it.
He does. He got down really well.
But yeah, good to have that early chance. But yeah, I just felt like, if something like that goes in, the floodgates could open. Just wanted to be. But I tell you what, I do wonder if for a long time now they're very thankful to have Jordan Pickford in goal.
100%. I was thinking about like Jordan Pickford and the way that he plays for Everton is so different to how he plays for England, because for England he's got to be this kind of ball playing goalkeeper. Whereas for Everton, there's none of that.
No, he sprays it long.
Yeah. But that shows his versatility, and where would they be without him? But look, we had a fair few chances. We'll take a look at the shots chalkboard now just to see the various chances that we did have. This is throughout the whole game, but the majority of them were in the first half. Evan Nilsson had a shot. There was a penalty claim where Dango looked like it was fouled, and it fell to Lewis Cook. I was praying for him to pull the trigger, but he just waited and put Ever through. And then he waited as well, because I thought he was going to slash it first time. Waited for the gap, but just dragged it.
I actually look at that again. I mean, obviously it doesn't matter, so it's probably not been highlighted much. It looked like a penalty.
I don't know.
He just smashed it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When he tried, I'm not sure, but obviously they were a little look at it. Maybe it wasn't clear and obvious enough. But again, we were creating a few bits. For Ever done the right thing. He just dragged it a little bit. But yeah, we were still creating bits. And I think there was one just before half time as well, where Christie probably should have shot.
Yeah, there was.
And I don't say that often.
Was that the one where it looked like he passed it into Pickford? Whereas I wasn't sure whether that was a shot.
I know. Well, I looked at that and I looked after, and he didn't have a shot on target in the game, so it was put down as a pass. But yeah, it was a weird one. He just didn't. It was like he was caught in two minds a little bit.
Kluivert was put through from Semenyo as well. Who Kluivert tried to dink it, and there was a melee in the box, but they cleared. We did put the ball in the net. Wicked cross from Christie, but Match of the Day didn't even show it. But I think there were three of our players.
Yeah, there were. And it's a weird one, isn't it? Because obviously you're 10 Max, I don't know if it was any different. I'm down the other end in the north. Didn't even think about being offside. No. And then obviously the flag goes up, we go, okay, and then it was quickly done. Look after it, it was obviously offside. But it's weird from my angle, I didn't even think about him being offside. No. But hell of a ball again, though.
Yeah, really good ball, whipped it in. I think Alex Crook, by the way, he was at the stadium reporting for TalkSport, and he called it a glorified League One match. I mean, it was, wasn't it? Because of the quality.
Yeah.
It was poor.
That would be most Everton games, I would have thought.
Yeah. But look, I think half-time, Everton showed themselves to be very difficult to break down. And what were your conversations on the concourse? Were you mentioning Palace? Were you mentioning West Ham?
A little bit, but I think we were all saying this is what we expected. Yeah. None of them players at half-time and Andoni are are going to be surprised at what's happening there. So they would have expected that. And yeah, it is literally just about, can we have that moment? Can we have that moment? Because I don't think they're going to let us. It's one of them games that we all anticipated, but it's still frustrating. But I don't know, I still felt like, as you mentioned there, we still had enough chances to make me think, no, we'll get one. We'll get one.
Yeah. Semenyo had an early shot. I didn't even see this because I must have been grabbing a coffee or something. 48 minutes.
Surprisingly,
it was. Did you see it?
Nope. I heard it.
Yeah, Pickford saved. It was hacked away. It was from the edge of the box. It was a very powerful shot, but he dived to his left and they eventually got it away. I noticed, by the way, James Hill constantly playing that same ball that he did forever against Fulham all the time. And that's a constant thing that he's trying to pick him out. Ever's obviously tuning into the way, you know, when he's got the ball and making those runs, which was really good to see. There was a long ball from James Hill at one point that, it sought out Evan Nilsson, who sort of got something on it. He was just very physical. And the ball fell to Dango. I was praying for him to hit it on his left foot. He didn't. He came back on his right foot. And then from our angle, it's unclear whether it was Pickford or the post, but Pickford again came to their rescue.
It was a weird one because I sit right behind that. And Dango done well and Pickford made a decent save, but it never looked like it was going in because he didn't have enough pace on it because he kind of scuffed it, didn't he? But Pickford still had to go full stretch to it. But as I say, mate, as much as it was frustrating, we were still creating bits, so I was still hopeful. But then you always think, have we got the options on the bench? Turns out we do. Yeah,
we did. So look, before that, just after half time, Everton made their change, and that was Patterson and Armstrong coming on for Lindstrom and Mangala. But yeah, on 70 minutes we made a triple substitution. Cliver off, Hill, Ouattara, and then Unai, Adams and David Brooks coming on, and he didn't take long to make an impact.
No, and I like the positivity as well. If he could have easily, when he took Cliver off, bring Billing on and just go kind of like for light in position, but he put Unai on and went, let's get another body up there. And I like the thing that we keep doing now is just putting Cook the right back, bringing Adams on, who, by the way, because I'm going to talk about Brooksy a lot, I thought Adams was sensational when he come on. And I want to make a little, because we've had a few little, apart from his free kick, Unai's not really done it. I actually thought in an understated way, he done well when he come on, because we scored quite quickly, obviously, which we're going to talk about, but his pressing looked a little bit better, and there was a few times he'd like win a throw in the corner, and I thought, no, he's doing what we need him to do at the moment. But obviously the main sub was getting Brooksy on, and not even 10 minutes was it? And it's a really good goal, by the way. Everything about the goal.
Really good goal. I mean, but Tyler Adams, like, he's actually really nippy, like really nippy, and he's strong. He's so tenacious. I mean, there was one point where he was marauding up the pitch with the ball, and I didn't know whether he was going to play it left or right, but really, really good on the ball, careful on the ball as well. And I did wonder, because I thought Christie was a little bit underwhelming in the first half, but in the second half I think he improved. Yeah. I think part of the reason for that is Adams kind of frees him up a little bit.
Yeah, probably right.
Maybe mentally knowing that like him and I think Christie and Cook are on a par, whereas you know that he's going to retreat. We've said this before, he's the anchor in front of the back four, but he was all over the pitch, Tyler Adams. And look, 77 minutes, I think Dean Howson had the ball in a sort of his left centre-back position, sprayed a lovely long pass. This is where I like the fact we can mix it up. And Semenyo, by the way, his leap, he was fairly uncontested. I think whoever he was up against, not sure it was, Branthwaite, was it?
Yeah, it might have been. But yeah, it was a really, really nice flick. And Kirkus...
Kirkus makes that run.
Kirkus has barely had a minute off this season. And he's still always there. It's later in the game and he's still always driving on. I thought... I mean, the run was brilliant. The ball was superb.
The ball was, and he didn't even take a touch to control it. It was just, I think it bounced once from Semenyo. And it was, I don't know if he did, but it looked like the outside of his left boot. And it just, it was amazing. It just evaded everyone, apart from Brooks, who delayed his run a little bit.
Yeah, he did.
And when the ball came over to him, he had a lot of time to think about it, and there'd be a number of wingers, strikers, forwards, whatever.
I wanted him to bring it down, if I'm honest.
There are a lot of them that would probably fluff their lines because they've got so long to think about it. But the composure in his finish, he sort of used one of the defenders as a shield and just put it the other side of him, giving Pickford no chance to really see it. I don't think Pickford probably had the best view of it.
No.
But either way, the finish was absolutely exquisite with the inside of his left foot, just passed it into the net. It was so good.
It was brilliant, and that's when you have them things where it's nice to have a left foot on the right, because if that's a right foot, that's difficult.
Yeah.
But the way he shapes his body was perfect. The way he shaped his body made me kind of realise, he's going to take it on first time. I thought, that's one of them you could just absolutely sky that.
Match of the Day were raving about that, by the way. I think they were saying that it's one of their most favourite goals this season or something.
Yeah, nice. But yeah, I think the technical quality of it shouldn't be underrated. It's really, really good. A lovely moment for Brooksy as well, and he's done that obviously because when he come on and scored against Brighton, it probably wasn't talked about enough because we didn't win the game. I think the fact that he's come on and been the match winner now is do him the world of good. I think he'll definitely be looking at our next game because it's cup of starting. If he can go and play well, maybe get another goal in that, he's knocking on the door again.
You know what? That's made me think. So, can I set you a challenge?
Yeah.
Can you write 300 words on David Brooks for the BBC, please?
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, is that right? Yeah. Because I want you to talk about him this week rather than anyone else, because I think we've spoke about Semenyo, we spoke about Evan, we spoke about Christie. I don't think we've mentioned Brooks that much. We need to highlight Brooks for the people who look at the BBC website. So if you do that,
we'll do,
I'll be proud of you, mate. I'll give you a gold star. Had a great view of the goal from Katie Moody on Twitter. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that. Limbs in the North Stand. And by the way, so I've been taking in all kind of media after this win because we saw the game out pretty well. I mean, you would think that we would maybe need to retreat a little bit. We didn't at all. I mean, like you say, that flashed shot, was it Beto or Decore?
I think it was Beto.
I can't remember who it was, but that's all that happened. But there was a Daily Mail article I saw from Tara Anderson-Walsh. It's a pretty good read, actually. And like the Daily Mail are even highlighting us now, mate. Because usually what I do is I go on the Daily Mail football page. I type in on the search BOUR because it brings up all the mentions of Bournemouth. There's usually one, and that's where the league table is because they have to put it there. Yeah. But they actually wrote about us of their own accord. And it was an article which was talking about how Cherries are better off without Dominic Solanke's goals and why Andoni Iraola can take the credit and saying that, of course, we've scored more goals off the bench than anyone else this season and spreading goals around the pitch. And that must be a nice thing for Andoni to have because I think Evan Ilson, if we said he's got the amount of goals that he's got at this stage, January the 6th we're recording this, I think some fans would be maybe sort of disappointed if you said that before the season began, saying, oh, he's only got that many goals. But it doesn't really matter as such because, one, we've seen how hard he works. He's brilliant. He's pivotal to the way we play. But also the goals are being spread around so many other areas of the pitch. Yeah,
the concern of losing Solanke was we were so reliant on his goals, particularly last season. So if you take that away, what's going to happen? You know, you can't expect Everton to come in and score that many goals straight away. But yeah, as you say, mate, we've been able to spread it out a little bit more. I think it automatically, for some of the other players, makes them feel like, right, I need to take on a bit more responsibility because we knew that Don was the goal man, and now we haven't got someone that's, there's quite a few that you could think could finish top goal scorer. So could Clivert, so could Semenyo. Do you know what I mean? You've got a few options in there. So, yeah, and it'll be really pleasing because, listen, at the start of the season, we lost arguably our best player, and we're miles above him in the league. So.
Happy days. We'll take a look at the average positions on YouTube of AFC Bournemouth. It's a fairly similar story for recent games with AFC Bournemouth. The majority of players in the opposing half. But I've got to say, Tom, when you actually look at what Everton did, very similar to Forest. I think against Chelsea, against Arsenal, where they got the draws, Manchester City, they had more players in their own half and they managed to draw those games. Whereas against Nottingham Forest, they actually were a little bit more advanced. It didn't feel like that when we were watching.
Didn't feel like it, no.
However, look at the average positions there.
Yeah, they were trying to press a little bit more, especially down that side where Kirkes was getting a lot of joy down there, so they're obviously trying to look out for that. I think it's interesting on ours that we were just talking then about Evan Ilson, how he brings so much more. Semenyo's average position is higher than Evan Ilson, which proves that point. He can drop into that pocket and help us. But yeah, I want to say again, James Hill, that's a perfect position for your right back to be as well, and he's really made a claim for himself there, which I'm pleased about. But kind of not too surprising, but yeah, I guess they were a little bit higher than it looked.
The attacking momentum suggests that Everton really weren't in it at all. So the height of the bars shows you how intense it was. And yeah, whilst it shows that they did have a little flurry at the end, it was very little. And I think AFC Bournemouth saw out the game comfortably. Some worrying stats for Everton if you're a Toffees fan, though. They've scored, of course, one single goal from open play in their last 10 matches. They've got the worst XG in the league. They are the second lowest scorers, have we said. And also, Dyche's team have 3 wins from 19 this season, and now stretching back to last season, it's 8 wins from their last 40.
When you think we're 8 unbeaten, they've won 8 games in 40. That is a concern. But as I say, they haven't got the best squad in the world. They're obviously struggling a little bit. And I think a few little injuries have hurt them as well. I think just to point out, we haven't really spoke about enough. Obviously, I said about McNeil, Garner, Iraola, and they have got a few out that I think would help them. But yeah, they shouldn't be playing that badly. They've got some options going forward. You've got to give them a little bit of a licence to try and win a bloody football match. So yeah, really intrigued to see how how it kind of tails on now, and how if they do try and kick on a little bit and try and get some wins, or even if they make a change.
What did you predict the Fulham score to be?
2-2.
What did you predict the Everton score to be?
1-0 Bournemouth. Did I say we'd smash United as well, maybe?
I said 2-0 because
you did say to me before I want to do 1-0, but you said 1-0.
Yeah, but I said 2-0 to be different, but I did say it'd be a late goal as well. I'm pretty sure I did because, and look, it's shown again. The XG timeline shows that it probably should have been 2-0, maybe 2-1 if you're reading that literally, but I'll go 2-0. So look, I got the XG right.
Indeed.
But yeah, we certainly should be patting ourselves on the back a little bit for that performance. And I want to talk about Dango because he was wasteful at times and a few poor crosses, but I think his performance was vastly improved in that. And it shows that I don't know what they're doing with him, but they're obviously he's been forced into starting games.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Possibly, but. Yep. What he did do on the pitch, I was actually quite impressed with because he got back as well. Yep. He was moving forward with the ball well as well. Had a couple of chances. Maybe this kind of Tav and Dango conversation or that. Maybe it's a moot point anymore.
Yeah, I think like you say, we all know how good he is off the bench. So that's the reason of us kind of wanting him to be on the bench sometimes because of how good he is off it. But I actually thought it was one of his best performances from the off in terms of starting.
Really good.
Like I say, yeah, a little bit wasteful stuff, but he's, as we mentioned, he's getting in them positions. His work rate is very, very good. And I think some of the running back he was doing, tracking back and getting the ball, I was really, really impressed with. Yeah, I thought he was a decent performance. And it was, weird that I thought he actually played well and then he comes off and Brooks gets a winner. So you think, oh yeah. But yeah, Brooksy being that super sub.
And I was quite pleased with what he said on Match of the Day. He said, I'd rather not be a super sub.
Yeah, agree.
I'd rather start, and that's nice to see that he's got the fight
definitely
to want to be able to start games. And this is a good situation for Andoni to be in because it seems like everything he does works. So he's got some like really nice headaches. Yes. We sort of suggested that he'd have a headache to break down Sean Dyche's team, tick, and we'd also say that he may have a selection headache. He hasn't. Tick. Well done. We're in a really good position, and we're going into some games now. I mean, we'll talk about them in a minute, but he'll have to be using his squad against West Brom certainly.
Yes.
We don't know what players are going to be back for the subsequent games as well, but it's kind of nice to know that whoever he picks, and can, they'll do a job.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate. And yeah, we'll be really interested to see what he does against West Brom. They're in the playoff place in the Championship, so I do think that they'll rotate as well, and we'll rotate, but I think we'll go stronger than people realise.
However, can I just remind you about what happened last season?
Leicester were atop the league. We thought, they'll rest players. They did. They beat us.
The season before that, albeit under Gary O'Neill.
Burnley. Yeah, we're top. Thought they'll rest players. They did. They beat us.
So it's not going to be easy.
No, definitely not, mate. But I actually think Andoni will go stronger than people think. Listen, we've said, as much as we're all like, Europe, we've always said, it's a shame that we're always looking over our shoulder because it means we can't go for the cup. It's the first time we ain't going down. So, let's have a little bit of a... listen, West Brom are no mugs and that'll be a tough game. But in terms of going through the next round, you take West Brom at home. I think if it was away, I'd be a bit, but at home to him, we should have enough. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he does there in terms of kind of rotation, if we've got any bodies back, etc. But Brooksy's certainly one that will be starting, I'm sure. So yeah, I really want some of them players that are going to start that don't always, maybe the new now, to really try and grab the game if they can. Easier said than done, but I hope they can do it.
I was saying about reading social media after the game, just to have a look at what Bournemouth fans are saying, Everton fans. I also saw a YouTube video from Blue Boys Network, and there was one quote on there that really stuck out. Most clubs are aspiring to be like Brighton, but I'm sitting here today and I'm aspiring us to be like Bournemouth. It says it all, doesn't it?
Take that in. Love it.
Just take that in.
Yeah, it's lovely. I think when you also see that, it looks, we've got Akimboni, in, and it looks like Soler, I guess you pronounce it, is going to come in, and then as soon as you see it, you go, I don't really know them, and then they've had links to Liverpool, and do you know what I mean? And then everyone goes, have they done this again? Bournemouth, it's really nice, really pleasing, and yeah, you've only got to look at Dean Howson, for example, to say, how we've got him for that price. It feels like we get a player, and then they automatically are like double, triple in price straight away.
I wonder if one of the new signings, Akimbombi, is going to be playing.
He could play. Be interested to see if he goes, you know what, let's just chuck him in against West Brom. You got to remember Celeste's out. He might want to try Hill a centre-back. I still think I think Zabani needs a bloody break. I do still think he'll play Howson. But yeah, you feel like Kirkers needs a break as well, but you haven't really got a left back. So it'll be interesting to see what we do.
And what about Jebison? Because he didn't have the greatest time at Watford by the sounds of it.
I hate him.
And he's removed all mentions of Watford on his social media profile. So what's the deal with him? Can he be back?
Yeah, it sounds like they've definitely, the loan's been cut short.
Yeah.
So he'll be back with us. We'll have to wait and see what any reports come out, whether that means, no, we've called him back, so we're definitely looking to get him somewhere else on loan. Or they're going to see him in the cup game, put him in the squad and see how he does. Not sure. The fact of the matter is it didn't work for him at Watford, so he needs to go somewhere else or just be a squad player for us, I guess. But it doesn't bother me too much. It looks like I've seen some bad misses. All Watford fans say he was poor there, so I'm not going to disagree with that because I haven't seen it. Doesn't really bother me, mate, when you got a coach like Andoni. I don't mean he's a bad player. I thought Ryan Christie was done here, to be honest with you. And look what Andoni's done to him. So, listen, it's going to be really hard for him to kind of suddenly out of nowhere be a player in the Premier League for a team for Europe. But he could be in the squad. He could get another loan and do really well.
We'll definitely have some shows coming up this week that talk about the new people through the door as part of our whole raft of shows that will go over the new transfers that we've got, and who knows what activity there could be. There could be another flagship signing. Who knows? Hopefully no one's going to be leaving us.
No.
I don't think so.
There's report out, I think it was Peter Rutzler actually, that said this morning the signing of Julio Soler has nothing to do with Milos Kerkez. He will not be leaving in January. He's come in to add squad depth.
Excellent stuff. Who scored man of the match and ratings? Always take a look at that to see statistically who could have been performing the best.
I think for us it'll be Kerkez because his crossing was excellent. I can't really remember him doing anything wrong. It's got to be Jordan Pickford for them. But Brooks will do well because he come on and scored, I guess.
I don't know whether you cheat and look at these stats because it's me.
Kerkez did get the man of the match in the stadium as well.
Yeah. 8.1 and you're right, Jordan Pickford on 7.7 there, but some good performances all around.
Dango's strong as well.
Yeah, some really, Watara 7.4, really good stuff. Brooks' scored. I forget the yellow booked.
No, I forget the yellow cards don't help. So Brooks, he was probably on for a higher rate, and he got. I think it was. I think he kicked the ball away. Ironically, time wasted against them.
And what's mad was that before this game, I saw a stat that we're the second worst for time wasting.
I think Kepa's got a couple
this season. I mean, I always remember it with Neto, always.
Yeah.
But
Kepa has done it a few
this
times.
season, is that like kicking the ball away as well?
Yeah, we've had a few where they just nick the ball away. But it's strange because even if you look statistically, normally we're trying to score a goal at the end.
Yeah.
That's why we scored so many late goals. I can't remember us ever really hanging on at the end of games to time waste. But we obviously have. The stats are there. But yeah, it might be them little kick the ball aways and things like that.
Happy days. The last 10 form table then. This is where it's at. Bournemouth are in 6th position in the form table.
Not bad.
And as we go into the fixtures ahead, well, have a look at that form table.
We've got 1st, 3rd, 4th and 5th.
And then have a look at the fixtures that we've got. Chelsea away, Newcastle away, Forest and then Liverpool at home. Tom, I know you've told me so many times, just don't worry about it. But I can't help look at them and think, that's going to be... I would be happy with... I'd be delighted with 6.
Cool.
I'd be happy with 4. We could easily get 3.
I think probably... odds-wise and stuff, will probably be predicted to get 1. I think Chelsea be favourites, Newcastle be favourites, Liverpool be favourites, and Nottingham Forest, maybe you'd say with nick points at home, but obviously they're doing really well. But yeah, as I say, mate, it doesn't bother me too much. I'd love to know what everyone predicted we would do against Arsenal, Man City and Tottenham, because that went all right. I think we'll give Chelsea a game. I really do. I think Chelsea... I've got a lot of quality, obviously Cole Palmer, etc. They could hurt us, but I don't think they're unbelievable defensively. I know Fafana's got a bad injury as well. I think we could hurt them. Ever since Eddie Howe's gone to Newcastle, I've gone there fearing them. We've never lost. We've got a decent record against Nottingham Forest. Liverpool one, maybe less so, but we've beaten Liverpool at home a couple of times. And we've been a lot worse. So I'm not fearful of them sort of fixtures anymore, mate. I'm more annoyed when you got bloody Everton at home and Palace at home and them sort of games.
Not long after that, we've got, I think, Saints on the road. And annoyingly, Tom, there are no trains. It's bus replacement services that weekend.
That's right. I'm sure we'll find loads of Southampton fans that live down here to get us a lift.
Yeah. I'm absolutely certain we will. So look, things are all good in terms of AFC Bournemouth at the moment. It seems to be, Tom, that these sort of conversations, it's kind of rinse and repeat, isn't it, for us? But it's a good place to be, that we're kind of waxing lyrical about how good things are.
And I think the fact that it was turned on its head a little bit. It wasn't like the scintillating football, rock and roll stuff because Everton didn't allow us to be fair to them. But it was shown a different way to win a football match, because I think most of the time when the game's been like that, we've struggled a little bit. So that was really pleasing for me.
How can we be better?
Probably just a bit more clinical, mate. We should be a couple ahead at half time. Then we could start taking players off earlier. Then we could start playing with a bit more freedom. I think that game shouldn't still be on a knife edge with 15 to go. So it just be a little bit more clinical. But at the moment, it's really hard to be critical of the side and anything we do, to be honest.
It certainly feels like we're going in the right direction on the pitch, but also off the pitch. If you saw the vlog from the weekend, I sort of did a bit on the stadium and the new training ground, and on the Saturday, because it was a weird one on Saturday, because we didn't go to a pub before the game, and I know that you wouldn't have done that as well.
I know what you mean.
Straight to the game.
Yeah.
However, so I got a chance to see Football Focus, which I rarely watch, and I did so because Kelly Summers did a piece with Frano.
Yeah.
At the new training complex at Camford, which looks unbelievable. So on our vlog, we put a bit of footage, which is maybe a month or so old. So even since then, this sort of footage on Football Focus showed you exactly where it's at, and it's looking absolutely superb. Had a chat with Andoni Iraola on the pitch as well. And it looks like an amazing complex. It's where players ultimately are going to be spending like 95% of their time. I think the geographical footprint is bigger than Staplewood at Southampton, which is obviously famed for producing some real big talents over the past like 20 or 30 years. Not so much at the moment. However, it is a really positive place to be, and hopefully once that's all done, I mean, I think there's 3-4 pitches that are done already. One's a sort of 4G one, but then there's a temporary car park that's used. There's going to be another pitch. There's going to be goalkeeper pitches and stuff. Everyone's going to move across. Hopefully then we can start thinking about a new stadium and all that. And I'm just wondering, like, I know that he was talking about 18,500. Is that enough? Is that enough?
No, I don't. Yeah, I know what you mean. It is a difficult one, because you feel like there's so many people that want it, but then there's certain games where you think, well, the tickets go back on general. So I don't know, maybe over 20 would be ideal. But I think they're going to do it with scope to be able to go higher if they need to be. So I trust the powers that be to make the right calls, and they know what they're bloody doing.
I just want this year to hopefully be the year that something's announced about that.
About the stadium?
Yeah, because there's been talk of it, but nothing really. I'm sure there's stuff going on in the background. I don't know this for a fact whatsoever. We are not ITK by any stretch of the imagination, but I would just love it to be the case that something will be said.
I think there will be.
Because like I said on the vlog, we are sort of like the laughing stock a little bit of the Premier League, but in many ways it doesn't matter. And we're harnessing that kind of small stadium vibe to our advantage, albeit I thought that we were quite quiet for the weekend.
I think we always are. I think them games in particular are quite difficult.
Because we just think that we can just roll over.
No, I think a lot of teams...
Everton.
I think a lot of teams are like that at home. But yeah, I know what you mean with the size of the stadium and stuff. But, you know, taking kind of Sean Dyche's blueprint, if you add on 10,000 seats, it's not that small. Do
you know the statistically the fastest player on the pitch on Saturday?
Oh, God, Lee Tomlin didn't play. Fastest player.
Oh, I'll tell you now, it was Adam Hensman doing his halftime challenge. Do you see that?
Yeah.
On the vlog. Bless little Adam, running from halfway line to the corner flag. He put in a right old shift. Didn't win though. But then it didn't help that the person that he gave the ball to, he basically ran in front of him. He couldn't get past. Yeah. Adam, sort your tackers out for the next one. But have a look at the vlog for that.
At least his dad went and played football and got the job done. Got the 3 points.
Yeah. Superb stuff. Well, Tom, it's been a shorter one than usual, but it's been a delight, and it's been a delight hopefully for you as well. Look, we said that we try to get more three-way chats in on Back of the Net. That relies on us having a microphone, and I know I keep on banging on about it. Our last set's now died, so until I get a proper microphone, Neil had to wear one of those things last time.
He did, yeah.
And I need to
he looked bloody good doing it though, didn't he?
If anyone's into AV,
what's that?
Audio-visual stuff, that knows a good way, ideally wirelessly, to be able to record like 3 or 4 people at the same time.
Is that what it means when you go on the telly and it says AV?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's what
we just, because we don't want to use these wired ones because they're awful, and this is on its last legs. At one point we'll turn up to record and they will not work. And look, thanks to everyone that supports us to help us get this kind of equipment, and you can be on the Telegram group, which is a bonus, one of the dividends of donating monthly via Ko-fi at afcbpodcast.com/coffee. You can be on the group. It's got bloopers, breaking news, first looks of video, and Tom's player ratings.
I was going to say, and Tom when he's had a drink as well.
And that as well. He's been posting a few videos.
Hey, we're in a good run. Yeah, I do the old player ratings as well.
It was your man of the match?
I did just go for Kirkes.
Yeah.
I wanted to make, because we haven't actually done it in this video, I did want to make another case for Lewis Cook. The fact that he's that good now, we don't even talk about him when he plays like that. He doesn't do anything wrong.
And never even said his name during the show, have we?
He's faultless. Absolutely faultless.
Zavani, I don't think we've mentioned.
No, just there because that's how good they are at the moment. But I think Kirkes probably deserves the credit for, one, being part of a defence that obviously just kept them out all game, but then also a few great balls. One of them's an assist, keeps going, and he probably, left back in particular probably don't get the credit. So I'm glad he got it, and he deserved that, especially with another left back coming through the door as well, mate.
Yeah, so if you want to get on the group, like I said, afcbpodcast.com/coffee. The monthlies go into our Telegram group. We're so grateful for the support because it massively helps us do this channel. We certainly wouldn't be able to do it without your help. Tom, it's been a pleasure.
Pleasure as always, mate.
And thank you so much, whether you've been watching or listening. Next, we're going to be up for the cup.
Fancy a cup run?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Why not? Oh, lovely. I was going to do my, what was I going to do? Matoya Kimboni scores goals for Andoni. He's American. That's all I've got so far.